My name is Helly R. I have, of my own free accord, elected to undergo the procedure colloquially known as severance. I give consent for my perceptual chronologies to be surgically split, separating my memories between my work life and my personal life. I am aware that this alteration is comprehensive and irreversible. I make these statements freely.
Early in the morning, Mark is sobbing inside his car. He then composes himself, wipes his tears, and walks into the headquarters of the controversial and mysterious biotechnical corporation, Lumen. To earn a job in the Macrodata refinement division of Lumen, Mark had to undergo the severance procedure, which consists of placing an implant inside the brain, causing the person's consciousness to be effectively split into two halves, an in-work persona called the 𝐒𝐞𝐚𝐬𝐨𝐽 and an outside world persona called the 𝐒𝐿𝐻𝐻. After walking into the building, Mark steps inside an elevator to get to the underground severed floor. The elevator triggers his 𝐒𝐞𝐚𝐬𝐻 persona, making him completely forget all his personal life outside his job. Now that all his personal memories are gone, Mark is in a much happier and more confident state of mind. Inside the office, Mark meets his severed colleagues, Dylan and Irving. He is then approached by Seth, his unsevered supervisor. Seth is usually friendly and cheerful while communicating with the severed employees, which is unsettling to them as he's also in charge of punishing them when they do something wrong. Seth informs Mark that the floor manager wants him to go to her office. The unsevered floor manager Harmony is an incredibly intelligent and manipulative woman, whose main goal is to get the most productivity out of her employees, and thus appeasing Lumen's board of directors. Harmony informs Mark that his favorite colleague and best friend Petey is no longer an employee of Lumen. This results in Mark receiving a promotion. He is also given a new key card, allowing him to access more areas in the workspace. Mark's first assignment as the department chief is to train a new employee, Helly. He is given a flow chart which he is supposed to read to Helly in a specific order based on her responses. Inside a soundproof room, Helly wakes up on top of a conference table as Mark's voice emits through an intercom, informing her that he would like her to take a survey. Realizing that there is no escape and that doing what she's told is her only way out, she agrees to take the 5-question survey. While trying to answer the questions, Helly comes to the horrifying realization that she has no recollection of any memories pertaining to her personal life. She was unable to recall her name, place of birth, and other personal information. After finishing the survey, the doors open, and Mark enters the room, congratulating Helly on giving all the correct answers, indicating that she's been successfully severed. Sitting at the conference table, Mark uses the flowchart to explain to Helly that she shouldn't feel so scared, as this is simply a routine job orientation. Helly pays no attention to what he is saying, and ends up throwing the intercom at his face, giving him a slight wound on the forehead. Mark repeatedly tries to follow the flowchart to convince Helly that she will be happy as an employee of Lumen, but she remains unconvinced. Realizing that Helly has asked to leave twice, Mark eventually breaks protocol and informs her that if she asks to leave a third time, he would be required to let her go. This leads Helly to telling him she wants to leave for a third time, and so he walks her out of the conference room and into the hallways. Traversing the eerily white hallways, Mark and Helly reach the exit door. He tells her that she will have to leave on her own, as he is not allowed to accompany her beyond this point. She then opens the exit door and steps outside, only to find herself back inside the hallways once again. She crosses the door a second time, but once again, she finds herself inside. She repeats this several times, to no avail. Defeated by this odd phenomenon, Helly walks back to Mark and asks if she's died and is in hell now, to which he assures her that she's not dead and this is not hell. Mark leaves Helly in disbelief when he explains that she actually did leave but then came back again, revealing that her 𝐒𝐿𝐻𝐻 kept sending her back in. Mark and Helly proceed to Harmony's office. There, Seth tends to Mark's wound and applies a band-aid. Harmony warmly greets Helly and hands her a video disc, indicating it as the next stage of her training. Subsequently, Seth plays the video for Helly. In the recording, 𝐒𝐤𝐢𝐬𝐸 states that this video was captured approximately 2 hours ago, followed by her giving consent to undergo the severance procedure. Overwhelmed by what she just saw, 𝐒𝐤𝐢𝐬𝐸 quietly goes to sit at her desk. After finishing his shift, Mark leaves the severed floor, and his Audi starts to place the work items inside the security closet. While doing so, he notices a subtle difference in his keycard, but doesn't think too much of it. He takes his personal belongings and heads out to his car. On the windshield of his car, Mark finds a note from Lumen, telling him that he slipped while carrying boxes at work, causing him to sustain a minor wound to the head. Included in the note is a VIP gift card to Pip's Bar and Grill. While driving his car out of the icy parking lot, Mark almost hits 𝐒𝐤𝐢𝐬𝐸 and apologizes, with neither of them recognizing the other. Back at his house, Mark calls his next-door neighbor, Mrs. 𝐒𝐤𝐢𝐬𝐸, to inform her that she once again has placed her trash bin in his space. Later that evening, Mark's pregnant sister Devin picks him up for a dinner party where they won't actually serve any food. At the dinner party, Devin's husband Rickon regrettably reveals to their guests that Mark has undergone the severance procedure, which leads the group to start discussing the procedure and asking Mark questions, making him feel uncomfortable. Spending the night at his sister's, Mark wakes up in the middle of the night and notices that there's a man in a business suit standing in the yard. However, he is distracted by a passing vehicle's headlights, and when he looks back, the mysterious man is no longer there. The next day, Mark visits Pip's to enjoy his complimentary VIP meal. To his surprise, the mysterious man walks up to Mark and tells him that he's Petey, Mark's best friend from work. Petey reveals that he managed to bypass the severance implant, retaining his memories of everything that happened at Lumen. He discloses that Lumen is now after him since he knows their secretive operations. Before leaving, Petey hands Mark a note with an address where he can go uncover the truth about Lumen's activities. Mark then goes back home, uncertain as to what he should do next. Before entering his home, he is approached by Mrs. 𝐒𝐤𝐢𝐬𝐸𝐸, who apologizes about the trash bin confusion. He accepts her apology, unaware that she's in fact his unsevered boss Harmony, living next door to keep an eye on him.
You're good people.
𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸�00